Hello everyone, it's Friday night and it is time for the Weekender once more. We have another packed show for you, including a whole medley of medieval mayhem from Medbury Miniatures and a ton of fun from Nova as well, including the new Chaos Dwarves for Blood Bowl. So with that in mind, we have a Blood Bowl prize this week from store.ontabletop.com. The second season edition of the game can be yours if you come over to OnTabletop and pop a comment below this video over there. If you haven't already become a site member, you may have to sign up, but it's free, so why not? Now, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined this week by Ben and Justin to take you on a hobby journey that you weren't expecting. How are you guys doing?
Perfect.
I'm okay. You guys are very bouncy today. Whatever you're on, can I get some?
Oh, you don't want that.
By 7-Up.
Oh,
No, actually, no.
Fido Dido, he's the best. Did you know the computer game, I say computer game, video game, Cool Spot, that came out on the PlayStation is actually a 7-Up tie-in. The red Cool Spot from Cool Spot is the dot from the 7-Up can.
Odd.
How weird is that?
The more you know.
Yeah. That's a little bit offbeat.
Especially when they had Fido Dido as the actual 7-Up sort of animated character. Why did they not use him? Was it because it was easier to animate a red disc than it was a baggy Bermuda short wearing hipster?
Probably.
Laziness. That's what we're saying. 7-Up and whatever computer game company made that were lazy. Terrible. Absolutely shocking. Anyway, we've got real hobby to talk about, though.
We do.
We should probably get into that before I get mugged down memory lane. So we're on a bit of a break this week. We don't have any massive people in the studio or any massive people in the studio next week to tell you about. We can just plow straight on into the show, and we can kick that off with the Indie of the Week.
I'm hoping something tasty.
Indie is the Lasercut Architect.
Ooh.
Nom, 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 nom.
You do like me some HDF?
It's always good. You can just burn it, crumble it, sniff it. It's not cancerous at all. Don't listen to the Australians. They whine an awful lot. They whine an awful lot. Lasercut Architect, then. So I'm just going to plow on. You're going to have to use all of this. A range of sci-fi modular terrain for your tabletop. Used to do a smaller range which had been looked at previously. In fact, I think we had some of it in the studio at one point. We may even still do.
We did.
Looks familiar.
Section and some of the guns and that sort of thing.
Was it some of the sci-fi stuff?
Oh yeah,
possibly.
Yeah. With like a defense line with the spinny barrel guns and pieces. However, the interesting thing about it these days is his adaptive system, shall we say, which I'll show first because it will make life easier when we get into the rest of it. So the lovely gentleman Daryl, we talked to him at Salute when he was just gearing up for a new Kickstarter. And part and parcel of this is all of the pieces from all of the ranges that we're going to look at, whether it's the defense line, the wastelands, the outpost, whatever it happens to be, it's all built on the same modular framework. And via the use of magnets, how do they work? You can click any of them together. So any set you buy from any range is fully compatible with the others. Even things like the large buttressed walls on the fortress there that you can see in the background, the defense line, they can come off and you've got a flat butted wall behind it. So then you can attach it to something like this hab unit at the front in blue, and then leave the buttress off altogether, or combine multiple of them and then buttress all the front to make it into a more substantial fortification, if you will. So all of these pieces are all expandable and joinable, including that whopping big gate. And as Darryl was saying to us at the time, when you go to something like Warhammer World and you see the Emperor's Palace, so why can you not just play on something like that with your own club or in your own home? There's my fat cat. Let's not look at me anymore. And part of that is having the flexibility to build something, but then also it being so modular that you can collapse it all down, store it away, and the next time you bring it out, make a whole new layout, which is always good. So you don't have to worry about storing a defense line that is 4 foot long and 2 foot high. It can all be deconstructed in various ways. So with that in mind, we'll start with the smallest bits, your little add-ons, the bits that everybody needs, ground-to-air platforms. Because you never know when swooping hawks are going to arrive, do you? Well, I mean...
never. They're not going to get rid of it.
They're never going to arrive for Ben. But other people may have swooping hawks from 20-odd years ago that you may be able to shoot out of the air with some ack-ack. So these are just little gun platforms. Could be used in game or just used as set dressing or objectives. I do like the idea of Colonel Schaefer's last chancers just dropping in to blow up the guns before the main assault comes to save your drop troops.
I always love components like this because they're what really add that yummy flavor to any table you build. Fine, it's good to have all your main structures, but if it's just random boxes sitting here, there, and everywhere, it's a little bit boring. With these, it's just like, yes, give me more.
Did you make a little hamster noise? Did you go? That's what it sounded like. Anyway, but no, I agree with you.
Oh my God, this would be the most amazing hamster cage. Imagine if you built them a fortress to run around in.
But they're chewing on HDF. I don't know if that's pet safe.
Of course it is. Again, don't listen to this.
Get super hamsters out of it. Space Marine hamsters. That's a vibe.
Yeah. That is a vibe. So, obviously, various types of guns, including platforms and accessories. The little staircases are quite nice as well. If I remember correctly, you can quite happily fit a standard round base into those, so they can go dump up the ladder. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, GW have then since decided to exploduate all of their basing. So like everything's on like a 40 mil these days, aren't they? As standard, because they're all huge. Whether or not
they've been at the all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah, so whether or not they'll fit as easily onto those, I suppose they're plastic.
I think you'd be all right, probably.
Yeah. But certainly
especially with basic infantry.
Your standard rounds will go on there. And you can see how they've been attached via the medium of hab block, which is kind of funky, or even on the interior if you want to go for easily accessible get the fire brigade out and stay out, sort of like.
Oh, I like the interior version. So if you're doing Necromunda or Stargrave where you're fighting through a facility, having that ability to create the sort of interior effect is really nice.
Yeah, it's kind of making me want to build a multi-level monstrosity.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because why not? Why not play your kill team? I mean, kill team plays on a 2x3? Smaller?
Something around that.
Random Games Workshop measurement.
Yeah, okay. Right. So
it's square, circle, or triangle.
Yeah, there you go. It plays pentagon, square. Well, it means you could do several layers of your facility, ground floor, first floor, or sub basement, side by side on the board, and you can have people on one floor and then maybe descend into another, and still have half your team upstairs doing something else, and have them running parallel, but know that actually they're above and below. Maybe they can rejoin in the future. Who knows? That would actually be a really good game.
It would.
Do that. Somebody do that. Film a battle report. Send me the link.
Surely that has to be a Jerry special.
Yeah, it would be. But I'm not playing Kill Team. Maybe do it with something else, though. I just not. Colonel Schaefer's last chancers, I go back to them. Cracking.
Ooh,
obviously, you need to play an earlier edition of 40k. But they were nailed on for it. Anyway, that aside.
Great callback, though.
The little Wasteland Outpost set shows sort of everything that's in here. I will point out the massive bays are not modular, because I think we've seen them briefly in the video. They're about twice the size of everything else. So they don't fit into the... Oh, no, they do have the adapted system. That'll be a weird one to adapt to. Anyway, we'll see it in a minute. Where have I gone? I've gone into the middle somehow. Oh, you're so weird. Let me close some of these. Kill you, kill you, kill you, kill you, kill you, kill me. Bye, Ben. There we go. So, Wasteland Outpost, as you can see, has a slightly destructed feel to it. But again, there's flexibility in the modularity. So your rune building can be pushed together to make just a runed wall, or you can spread it out into two separate pieces to give you more coverage for your tabletop, depending on the game you're playing and the rule set. So if it's something like Firefight, where you have footprint buildings that you can get into and the counters runes, then having them as one solid piece, or splitting them into two sort of little half triangular sections makes sense in and of itself.
If you painted these upright, I'm almost getting like cyberpunk vibes off them.
Yeah, I mean, they work for Infinity or Codeblade, anything like that, especially with things like this, with your massive zappy things. It looks like that one from the last Starfighter.
Objectives for you to consider blowing up on stuff on the tabletop. So
you too
or
can
just
explode
a
things.
hazard.
Yeah. I also just thought about it. Obviously, Halo Flashpoint comes with its own terrain and stuff anyway, but a lot of this would be really good for setting up interesting Halo-themed tabletops, I reckon, if you wanted to get some alternative bits and pieces, terrain-wise.
No reason why you couldn't.
I mean, you could also do some Fallout with this stuff.
Yeah, Fallout would also be a really good one.
Just do a little bit of darker, grungy paint job on it, make it more rusty.
Could be a hangar bay or something for the, what are they called? Vertibirds? Is that what they're called in?
I mean, honestly, I'm just thinking you find an abandoned Robco facility that was making military gear.
There you go. Yeah.
The thing about this one, though, is there's nothing on that screams 28 mil. So that could be a Battletech hangar quite happily as well.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Oh, that would be cool. With lots and lots of the mechs ranked up inside it.
Ranks upon ranks of Armies ready for deployment.
Oh.
Just Armies as far as I can see.
Just, what's in that warehouse? Here's angry trash can sounds.
Wasteland's quite nice. The isolated outpost, I think, is just lovely. And maybe that's because I've been re-looking at Star Wars again recently. And just feeling the urge to drop in and do something vaguely Tatooine-esque. So it might just be the paint job that he's gone with, that buff desert colour.
And the red stripe around the outside is very Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, this jumps out to me straight up. Just go core space, upgrade.
Again, these
see that tacked onto some of the facility stuff that they've got. Yeah.
So with the adaptive terrain system, there's holes that you can see there are actually 3 mil squares that you can put magnets into, and then that way you can pull off the front and then run 2 or 3 of these together to make a longer hab unit, and then just it's all clunk click every trip. Depending on the really style that you want to build. Yeah. I think that's the most impressive thing.
Now, do the kits come with the magnets, or is that an additional add-on you have to buy?
No, if you want to magnetize everything, you've got to grab the magnets from somewhere else.
Okie dokie.
But pull up one of the actual design things here, you can see. Bump, bump, bump. So it could all be dry fitted anyway. It's just if you want little features that maybe are hanging off the front, or you want a bit more rigidity when you're playing. So if somebody knocks the table flying when you're having your beer, it doesn't go everywhere.
For the way forward.
Yeah. But it's a fascinating concept that he's put together as far as the goal to make every range completely compatible with the others. And even though this contains, your hexagonal sort of buildings and the like, and then the Wastelands had a very industrial sort of semi-sci-fi Necromunda look with the big pieces, but going, okay, well, I'm going to get the simple buttresses. They'll fit on everything. They all have the same style of underlying architecture. That means that it all comes together. So something as diverse as the STC hab blocks and corridors will still fit with the Hyperion stuff. And that doesn't look on first blush like they are compatible. Like I say, the bits and pieces like the dressing, the buttressing and that sort of thing all comes together to help you mask, not mask the joints, but finish the building. So if you want to buttress everything, you can pick up the extra buttresses. If you want to leave them all off, you can do. But it means you've got the ability to pick and choose between the ranges and go, well, I need something that playing Stargrave has those little moon bases for the Prospector, the last Prospector campaign. So you need to have something that has multiple rooms attached by corridors. For a lot of games, you're going, well, it doesn't really matter what terrain you have. You just need to have a few bits of terrain. But when you're playing Stargrave, there's a lot of very specific, scenario-specific terrain layouts. And you're going, well, do I really need X just for one scenario? Whereas with this, you go, three rooms attached by 2 corridors, you say, with doors on the outside. Clink, clink, clink. Magnet things, go. And you've got that. And then the next scenario goes, well, you need 2 buildings separate. You just go, oh, well, I'll leave one of the buildings in the box along with the corridors and just have 2 buildings then wherever they happen to be. Or, the flexibility in there to not have to buy specific pieces for specific scenarios, instead being able to modularly adapt, like an adaptive terrain. Clever.
I think that's a selling point over 3D printed stuff in particular. Yeah. Obviously, you can get modular 3D printed terrain, and you just use things like the open lock system that I know Fat Dragon uses and stuff. But I think the way that this comes apart and the way that you can build it in different ways is a lot more interesting and diverse. And you maybe this sounds like a dig, but you kind of maybe sacrifice a little bit of the detail that you potentially get with a 3D printed part, but you get the modularity and the diverse ways that you can play around with the terrain and build it up in different ways. And as you pointed out, Justin, just by painting this in different ways and adding things like weathering effects and transfers and all sorts of different things, you can theme it to make whatever kind of sci-fi setup you'd want, really.
I mean, so long as you don't mess with the connection points too much, there's nothing to say you can't actually print some additional detail components from your 3D printer to add a bit more flavor to it.
Just add them on.
Yeah, I mean, personally, what I would love to do, seeing that particular kit, do that as a table, right? So, moon landing at a prison colony, but inside there is an elevator, and do 3 tables laid out as 2 more layers to the prison, so you can run multiple games in different layers of your prison facility. I think it could look amazing.
Like a reverse fortress.
Yeah. You could do like the, I don't know if you've played Call of Duty in the prison levels where you have to go in and try and get, was it Makarov or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually what I'm thinking of, it's, Jerry's got me thinking about it from Last Chancers. One of the novels, the main character, Kane, is actually held in a prison facility that is just on a moon or an asteroid, and it's just levels down. I just think building that out and just, having a massive fight through a facility would be amazing.
Christopher Lambert escaping from the fortress.
Oh, yeah, that's an oldie goodie.
It's an amazing one. Another one for the kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the way it's come together, you can see there the big, chunky, heavy fortifications on the front. Just bink it off and then stick your extended defense line to the side of it. So before, all the way around, lift them off, stick it on, buttress to the front, defense line to the side, just run it off there.
It's great.
So whether it needed to be a standalone bunker or part of a more substantial trench system or fortification, you can just go in here, there, or anywhere. So I really like the stuff that he's been
really
doing.
Cool.
Yeah, it really breaks us away from that old style of actually having to build like defense lines into like foam or whatever you would use to actually lift new layers into your tables.
Interestingly, that's where I mean, obviously we saw them at Salute, but when you're talking about the Kickstarter, that I believe is set up on Liam Dempsey's tables. He's a Warhammer streamer. And a lot of Daryl's terrain gets added into his battlefields and used on his tabletops, and it looks amazing. I think the hangar was used in like a It was a game with the Tau potentially, and there is something epically awesome about a Tau battlesuit stepping out of like the inside of one of those facilities. It's
although the fortress on that table looks like it needs some redemption.
Everything needs redemption in the grimdark future.
It's a beefy bit of kit, regardless.
And the thing that's also really nice about this is that with 40k in particular, if this is what you're going to be using it for, you need line of sight blocking terrain, otherwise your armies just die. But this is that little bit of point of difference from your standard L-shaped ruin that everybody ends up throwing on the tabletop. This gives you big solid blocks of fortifications for you to hide behind and fight through and stuff, and not your kind of classic Gothic ruins style design that everyone else will have access to. So yeah, very nice.
Yeah, so fascinating stuff from Daryl and Lasercut Architect. Worth keeping an eye to see what else is coming if you're into your sci-fi as well. Also works with Dark Ops in partnership, so whether it's available via Dark Ops or whether he does some work for Dark Ops, your guess is as good as mine, because I haven't been able to find out yet. Go and find out for me. Put in the comments below. We'll get somebody to read that.
Shoo.
Tim, you read the comments, then you can tell me what the answer is. There you go. Teamwork. Right. Let's take a look at some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
All right, we're kicking things off with the news and a touch of the medieval from Medbury Miniatures. They have a whole host of 100 Years War bits and pieces coming to the fore, which are looking absolutely spectacular already, and I'm still not doing this period. Don't know why you've put it in there.
It's medieval year.
Mayhem?
Everybody's doing medieval this time. Like, there's the Barons' War, there's Medbury, there's Victrix, there's Lloyd.
War Games Atlantic. Yeah.
War Games Atlantic, yeah. Everyone's doing it.
Well, I'm not. You can't make me start a new period. I've been avoiding medieval for quite some time.
Join the gravy train.
Not happening. Anyway, so Medbury have come up with a couple of starter armies that would be ideal for many games, like the Barons' War. They've got a very Saga-esque footprint, but Saga doesn't really extend into this period at the moment. I may have been reading the Masterstroke Games Force of Virtue rules recently again, though, and they would fit in this quite happily, although I'm not going to. So you can get an early 100 Years War starter set, which contains both your Pavis Genovese crossbowmen, your Pavisair spear, some Kniggets, and also King John II and Geoffrey, the bestest of all French knights, came back from a crusade and was given the joy of carrying the Oriflamme, the French national standard, which is presumably what he's got there. I expect to see a lot of fleur-de-lis on that. I don't think I had fleur-de-lis. But anyway, it's what killed him eventually, because everybody went, isn't that the French royal standard right there?
It's Geoffrey.
Yeah,
Geoffrey.
We want that. No, it's the same through all history. People love flags.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time defending that and unfortunately finally fell at one point. May have actually been a body. Anyway, not that I'm looking. You can't make me. There's also a English 100 Years War starter set.
Oh, I would go blind.
Including Billman.
Yeah, that painting's mad.
That painting's absolutely gorgeous. But when you get right into it,
divine, but
it shows that, you know, you're not painting super fine detail. It's the look of the thing from a distance. You know, when you look at it, the fleur-de-lis are just sort of 2 or 3 colors in. The lines are the heraldic shape is there. When you pull back, it gives you the effect of it. But you're not doing intricate fine detail. You're not having to worry about every whisker. So, you know, just do it. Do it now. Anyway,
Bowman galore. God, I love Bowman.
Yeah, a lot of Bowman, Billman, some foot knights, and also the king and his son. Presumably, latter day, just about to have dysentery son in the form of the Black Prince there, because you know when it was very early 100 Years War, he was like a teenager. He led. Was it Cressy? he was like 15 or 16, and he was given command of the right flank and just went, go, and countercharged by the French, and the king was going, no, he's got to learn sometime. No, we're not going to send anybody to help him. Is he still on his horse? Well, he's fine then. Earn your spurs, son.
He can run away. Yeah.
Yeah. So considering the massive tash he's got there, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not 16-year-old Edvard. But
unless he really grew into his facial hair.
Well, I mean,
let's be honest. People had to grow up a lot quicker back then.
Yeah. You can't really hassle nature into giving you a tash like that at 16. Unless, well, I mean, it's not going to happen. Maybe just glued on a bit of horsetail. The Black Prince. I love the Black. Do you know nobody knows where the Black Prince comes from?
Really?
Oh, right.
Yep.
I thought it was because of his armor, but I didn't know if that was just a Hollywood affectation, potentially.
No, better than that. It's a Tudor affectation. Nobody called him the Black Prince until like 150, 200 years after he was dead, when the Tudors went Black Prince. Now, whether that's just because his armor was still kicking around.
Or maybe his mood. Maybe he's a particular black mood.
Yeah, but nobody at the time called him that. So,
okay.
So that's interesting. Put your comments below, people. Why was he called the Black Prince? Was it his armor?
I wonder if that's something that carries. I wonder if William the Conqueror was known, because everyone just knew him as William the Bastard, didn't they? To be honest.
Well, that's there's no point in limiting people by their conqueringness, because let's face it, everybody's a conqueror in some respect at that point.
I'm sure well, I suppose a lot of people went around calling Alexander great, but they wanted parts of his empire. So
it's a good way of doing it.
Was it other people that called him great, or did he just make people call him great?
You call me great.
A bit of column B. Yeah. I absolutely love the Medbury sculpts, though. They are stonking.
They are
the characters in particular.
I have so many of them. Yeah.
Are really great. So as you can see here, these are metal. Medbury do STL files as well. So generally they do the STLs first and then physicalize them later.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the French King John II, shouldn't have pushed that body in yet. I'm going to skip to that one actually first, just to show you some of the infantry. So your unarmored English archers are really nice. So obviously these are all medieval. These are not by any stretch of the imagination the only things that are coming for those.
No.
There are substantially more packs of forces within the medieval range, but they also do a lovely Dark Age range as well. So you too can have Christopher Lee's great grandfather.
I'm fairly sure he's most people's great grandfather.
Yeah, he is. Isn't he? Yeah. But when you get that far back, everybody's related. There wasn't enough people. There he is with his Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, though.
What is it? There's some stupidly high percentage of people who can trace their line back to Genghis Khan.
Yeah. They were very rampant.
It's all about squares on a chessboard.
Is that how you say it where you're from, Ben?
Yeah, rampant.
Anyway, if you are, because Medbury's obviously Australian, but if you're in United Kingdom or Europe, infamous JT have recently got on board with Medbury to start stocking their stuff. Now, these are currently pre-orders.
Yes.
The plan is this is the stuff that is either about to be sent or being sent. So if you order, you're going to have to wait a little while because I think it's due its first delivery in September. But if you want to be guaranteed of getting what you're after, then, ordering earlier rather than later is better. You can see there the Dark Agey bits, Vendels and that sort of thing.
I have so many of his Beowulf miniatures. I got them through the Kickstarter and they are amazing.
So do I. They're sitting right behind me, along with the dragon. Oh, the dragon's really nice.
I didn't get the dragon. That's
didn't get the dragon.
Get.
Oh, silly you. I love those. The tired archers. I mean, can't be that tired. They've still got arrows left. So stop moaning. Get back up there. Fire away.
Keep shooting.
Yep. But yeah, if you go into the medieval, you'll see like the medieval billmen. There's 3 sets of billmen there compared to the I think there's 2 English billmen sets that are shown in the army
in the start
where they're lurking there. So there's a expansive range that's getting only bigger, including everybody's favorite thing, Bombards. I would like a big barrel, please, to take your walls down. Thank you. We'll let you know next week. You can get on the ground or on wheels. Why you would put it on wheels is beyond me. I mean, it's not the most accurate thing as it is. The last thing you want to do is to rock around as you fire it. You have to chase it for half a mile across a field. No.
The first case of an aggressive to whom it may concern.
They probably did etch something into the shot, I would imagine.
A lot of them did. Even the Romans did.
Yeah.
It's the best way.
I like to think they wheel it forward and then take the wheels off would hopefully be the way that they do it. So, but
you would hope, because otherwise it might go and it still might go.
Depends where it is. Depends where you're setting it up, what you're aiming it at. Presumably, if you want some form of accuracy, and I use that word quite loosely, having it without wheels so it doesn't move between shots too much
would be a good idea.
Is a good way to go, especially if you're attempting to breach a castle. So yeah,
I was going to say as well, Medbury being Australian, they attend a lot of events over there as well. So if you are looking to pick up the stuff, I believe the last event they went to, they packaged up a bunch of those starter armies and took them to sell. So keep an eye on their social media and see where they're about, because you might be able to go and pick up stuff up for them in person rather than going
two upcoming Australian conventions that are within like a week and a half of each other, but about 4,000 kilometers apart.
Well, yes, Australia.
Because it's Australia. I know this because somebody else is going to them. So yeah, it'd be worth reaching out if you are that neck of the woods to see. Like I say,
I'd say, can we go? But depending on how far apart we are, oops.
I wouldn't be going. Country full of heat. Don't care about the animals. It's the heat. Why would I go there to be baked to death?
Very
outrageous.
I thought you'd be more scared of the locals.
No, but they're all Irish. Why would I be scared of them? Everybody hits 20 in Ireland, and your choices are go to Australia or go to Australia. Australia. Boom.
You know, actually, you're right. One of my cousins did go last year.
See, right. Away from there and off to far, far away galaxies. Star Wars Legion is actually getting releases. I'll never catch on.
Yeah, so Star Wars Legion, contrary to Jerry's estimations, is not quite dead yet.
You should see what I bought the other day. It's all half price from a company. That's how fire sale it's getting.
There you go. But following on from the new edition that's not really an edition of the game, a couple of new plastic sets are available to pre-order right now ahead of a release in October. There's a set for the Rebels and a set for your Empire troops as well. On the Rebel side of things, we have the Rebels Sleeper Cell, which comes with a whole bunch of miscreants, smugglers, rogues, and everything else in between, who you can set up to blow things up and cause general mischief. If you're a fan of the Rebels TV series and such, you'll be very happy to see that there's even a lolcat
as
well.
Yes.
Yay. Favorite.
There's also, and something that I really like about especially the later stuff they did for the Rebels and in subsequent packs, is that they've actually put in a lot more of the alien heads. Well, a couple more of the alien heads anyway. So it's not just your regular humans running around.
No, Rudian and
regular old galactic basic.
Blech. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really nice set, actually. It'd be interesting to see how these things pan out.
Yeah.
Because you've got 8 in there. Obviously, the new rules now allow you to expand squads to bigger sizes as well.
Yes.
And I wonder if this has been sort of built with that in mind, that these are the first of the new standard template, if you will, for infantry boxes, because both this and the Empire are similar squad size.
Yeah. I would assume these have been a lot of their older specialized crews were normally attachments, and they were 2 to maybe 2-man teams or 4 potentially. Whereas this obviously is giving you more models. I'd assume they're going to be doing a lot more of that kind of infiltrating, setting things up, destroying objectives, all that kind of stuff. They'll obviously come with their own unit cards and upgrades and everything, as you'd expect for Star Wars. So you'll have plenty to tinker with on that front. But yeah, really nice characterful set. Really good for those people who want to make a slightly more sort of diverse kind of subterfuge themed rebel force rather than an out-and-out army, I suppose.
We've all seen Rogue One on Andor, and that's all we want these days.
Exactly.
And
even that setup looks a lot like the planet from Andor. So.
Yeah, it looks like it looks a touch ferric, but it also looks not dissimilar to the attack on the tank in the streets when they go to where was the Guardians of the Wills? Jeddah?
Yes, Jeddah. Yeah.
Where they come screaming out of the darkness to start blowing up the Imperials in the middle of the street. It looks like that. And I'm all for that.
Talking about that, some models that might be used to maybe shut that down. The Imperial Riot Control Squad is also ready to pre-order as well. This comes with a bunch of stormtroopers armed with their regular E11 blasters, but also you've got a bunch of folks with their riot shields and electro batons as well. So if you're looking to put down the rebels and definitely just put them in prison, then you've got some...
I'm going to say it now. This is terrible. That's not how you arm riot police. Too many lethal weapons. That's not what they're built for.
No, but if you get rid of the rioters, they can't riot again. Yeah. That's the,
Those guns can all be set to stun. These are safer than riot police we've seen.
Oh, God.
So you've got the stormtroopers there, which are looking, again, amazing. Really nice sculpts. I like the poses, very dynamic. And they are backed up by a pair of security droids as well.
Yeah. Which never rest the wrong person. Never.
No. Andor didn't get into trouble on that front either. But yes, some good options there as well. Really nice models. It's good to see them still fleshing out the line. I think the idea is that they're going to be doing kind of a bit of a mix between Legion and Shatterpoint, sort of
Star Wars
sort of going between the two over months. So obviously we've got the Legion stuff here. I'd imagine we'll get more Shatterpoint soon, and then they'll flip back to Legion and they'll start bringing stuff out as the new edition expands. If they're doing more Rebel stuff like this, I'd love to see the Rebels crew done in Legion scale, because they've done them in Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint.
They've done one for Legion. They've got Sabine.
What's her name?
Sabine Wren.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have her, but that's it. I'd love what's his name?
Any of them?
Yes, any of them. The droid whose name escapes me. Oh, God. It really sucks.
I was going to call him Geezer, but it's not.
We've all lost it now.
Yes. Yes, we have. We all know it. We all know who you're talking about.
And Ezra and everybody else would be great to see on the tabletop in the future.
Yeah. I want to see more aliens, though. For every 5 or 6 human faces you get an alien one. And let's face it, it's easier to sculpt a realistic alien because you don't notice imperfections or weirdness. You don't go,
very true.
That Rhodian's snozzle is too wide. Whereas you look at some faces and you go, he just looks off for whatever,
he's lost a couple of barbells.
Because you're so familiar with watching humanity walk around all the time.
Yeah.
Very true. So it should be much easier for them to pump out a ton. And it's not like we're lacking in alien types that can be chucked onto the tabletop. Surely.
What I'd like to see more is less air-breathing aliens.
Right.
So like ones with respirators and things on. And
because let's be honest, most sci-fi shows, we only ever humans, and everyone who's an air breather just seems to deal with air breathers.
Very true.
Babylon 5 didn't, but then it was ridiculously good and ahead of its time. Well done, J. Michael Straczynski. You absolute legend.
Someone tick off somewhere that he
it's on the bingo card.
5 into something.
Yes. So, you say it like it's a bad thing. There was a whole section devoted to non-oxygen breathing aliens on B5. They had to wear the face masks when they went in. Kosh was in there, even though he didn't need 2 spoilers. Right.
Chopper, that's the name of the droid.
I knew it ended in ER. That's why I was thinking Geezer.
There you go.
Right. Diamond Geezers. Speaking of Diamond Geezers, GC Studios doing some beautiful work once more for Bushido.
Yes. So GCT Studios and their awesome Bushido range, you were nearly there, have released a whole bunch of new miniatures across a variety of different factions. This is their monthly release for sort of August into September. The main focus is on the Silver Moon Syndicate, which is your collection of sort of traders and performers and ne'er-do-wells who are definitely just putting on wonderful performances and plays for you, and they're not trying to steal all your money and make out with all the big bucks. Leading the way, we have Fudo, the Illuminator, who trained to light lanterns, as you can see there. That did then lead towards the fire being used for more nefarious means, and so now these lanterns are used to float towards the enemy and explode in their faces and set people on fire, which is what you'd want, really. So yes, Fudo looking very nice indeed. Lots of fun rules in there for using him. He's also a big block of a man, so he's going to be very good for defending objectives and keeping portions of the board under your control. If you want to go from big and hefty and explosive to small and sneaky, then there is also another set, which is Nanchin and Kibin, who are a couple of urchins that you can send sneaking around. They are going to be great for pilfering and backstabbing and all that kind of good stuff, because you got to teach them young. But also they've got some really special rules in there for kind of delaying your opponent. So when somebody moves into contact with them, they can use an ability to just move away, and then the enemy can't follow. So you can drag a player or a character into combat with them and then sneak away behind cover and run off, which is going to be really handy for kind of outplaying your opponents and using your maneuverability to your benefit. There is also a themed warband that you can pick up, which is the Path of 1,000 Faces. Unfortunately, the image for the models for this one is a little bit small. Crap, so we didn't put it in. But the idea is that is a selection of performers who have come together to, as I said earlier, kind of put on a show for you and then steal all your stuff at the same time. You've got like fan dancers and all sorts of things in there. So it's a very nice thematic warband, as you'd imagine, with all the fun, amazing sculpting work that the team behind Bushido put into their collections. So make sure to go and check it out. The image is quite nice. They have painted it up. You can find it on social media and also over on their store page, but it's just a little bit tiny, even too tiny for Jerry. So I didn't want to throw it in. So there we go.
Bet it wouldn't be. I can just move my face closer to the screen. It's fine.
Just move your viewing device closer. As well as that, we've also got a couple of new packs for different factions. So the Cult of Yuri get an amazing miniature. So this one is Wari, not Wario, as I initially pronounced it, but Warui, I suppose.
Jerry's going to call him Mario for all time now.
Yeah, so he is a spirit that is bound to a skeletal form, but he's so powerful that as the skeletal form fights and it gets damaged, it breaks apart, and then you can unleash one of the like spirit creatures from Bushido out of the skeleton onto the tabletop. So you could use one of the big characters that they've done before, the different kamis and stuff, or you can unleash some of the like even more deadly stuff that they have that kind of is like sort of not faction specific. So you can choose in the moment which kami you want to throw out onto the battlefield. So if one really works for you into one setting, use that one. If you want to change it and go in a different direction, just try that at a different time. But it also means that while he's floating around on the battlefield, you're like, I really need to deal with this guy, but if I smash his bones, he's going to unleash some terrible, nasty demon thing on the tabletop that's going to ruin my life. So it's a fun little kind of tactical decision for your opponent and how to do it.
It's like everybody needs to jump him at once and just keep smashing until he's not on the tabletop. You can't half-ass that one. Don't chip away. Don't think damage.
Sorry, it doesn't scare me. I've got one of those.
There you go.
Get him to set him
We've
on
also
fire.
got Darren Eby for the Dissension, who is a new Tengu miniature. I'm not a fan of Tengu, but, you know,
look at the
whatever
fingers.
you like. Oh, God, birds with fingers.
But you don't like bird people? No,
I like bird people, but I like bird people, but not people birds. There you go. That's the way around to say it. But yeah, so
weirdly specific.
She is one of the storks from the Tengu who has been banished from the skies, but that doesn't make her any less fast on the tabletop. And so she can leap over terrain and she can ignore difficult terrain and things like that and get into places to fight the enemies that they think they might be safe. So yes, really nice miniature actually. All in all, I do like the sculpt, but still, people birds. Ugh.
You've been scarred by the kids in the hall and Chicken Woman, haven't you?
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have the Wolf Spears for the Shiho clan. And these are a pair of spearmen that you can use, kind of like Ashigaru style, to kind of work in combination to take down enemies. So as you'd imagine, by the idea of them being called like the wolf spears, they work as a pack. So you use them to lock down your opponents, and then they get bonuses for fighting when they're next to each other and stuff like that. So it's a great little set for those people who want to try and work again on that kind of tactical angle. Build up maybe a couple of packs of these and use them as part of your warband. You don't necessarily, you don't need a lot of miniatures to play Bushido anyway, but maybe 2 of these, so you've got 4 of them alongside a good leader or something, and you'd have a really nice little set that could sort of like move around and lock down individuals, take care of them, and just move on to the next one. And as I say, work like a
corral them into an area and deal with them.
Yes, yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, great stuff from Bushido once again. If you want to know a little bit more about the individual characters, over on their web store, they do have the character cards listed underneath the entries, so you'll be able to go and read a little bit more about them. If you're someone who's au fait with Bushido, then you'll be able to sort of be like, that is a perfect character that I need to pick up for my warband of choice. So
I love the fantasy styly side of Bushido, but those 2 I really like for being
gorgeous,
so viably historical,
normal.
Yeah. It's interesting to see something like that, or even the 2 little thieving kids on the tabletop, because yes, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Bushido, but humanity is still there doing the do. Not everybody has to be some sort of crane faced Tengu.
You get the same kind of stuff with the prefecture of Ryu and the Minamoto clan, as well as the Shiho clan as well. They're all really good for kind of getting across that samurai Ashigaru aesthetic. So if that's the kind of way you want to go with sort of human characters, it's definitely one to have a look at, see what you think. But
even the big fat field sumo there. I like him as well. Yeah. Right. Justin, tell me all about Dropzone Commander.
Actually, Dropfleet Commander, Jerry. So space battles, not the ground battles for this universe. What we are seeing is a new 2-player starter set. So this one has me excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, we have a new edition of the rules coming. So I'm assuming they're going to fold in all of the erratas, all of the updates. We're also seeing a new faction. So I'm saying new faction. I haven't seen these guys before, and I'm probably going to, butcher their their name, but they are the Bioficers. So they're a corrupted artificial intelligence, from like ancient times. So this thing has been floating around doing its nasty, and I love the ship designs for them. That nice, sharp, angular, predatory look is really doing it for me. So in the box, we're getting 15 Bioficer ships, 3 cruisers, 6 cells, 6 frigates. For the UCM, we're obviously getting 3 cruisers, 6 frigates. So I'm assuming the 6 cells are doing some weird rules jiggery pokery that's just going to add some flavor to the faction. You're also obviously going to get all your tokens, all your rules. And because I know Dave is a madman, these are all really modular designs. So they've included a quick start set in there, so you can quickly build 2 forces, 2 spec, which should be reasonably balanced between each other. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a great box. A lot of people have been talking about this for a long time. They've been really excited to see what they do with the new edition, and a lot of people have been sort of looking at the contents of this and being like, absolutely fantastic starting point for a lot of people. One of the things that has been pointed out, as you said, Justin, is that all of the ships have variant guns and all that kind of thing, so you can build them in different ways.
Crazy modularity.
The modularity is like off the charts. But the other thing that's really nice is that they've revisited a lot. All of this is going to be done in hard plastic. They've revisited a lot of the UCM ships, especially as well, and sort of updated and tweaked them, because everyone just assumed that we're just going to just redo the UCM as they already were, but they've kind of gone back and done a little bit of jiggery pokery on those, which is why they took the old Dropfleet range off sale recently, so that they could come back and revamp it all. The Bioficer stuff, I think, is lovely, as you say, Justin. I love the floating gun aesthetic that you get with it, which I think is really cool.
I mean, you could just put that on a tow.
Yes, you could.
You could. But it makes a lot of sense, because if you think, if it's just an AI that is creating ships, it has none of the extraneous bits that other factions need to worry about, like keeping crew alive.
Mm-hmm.
It just has to run, small access corridors for repair bots. You're fine. Just imagine millions of tiny spider bots crawling through all of this, fixing stuff.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Obviously, it should all be painted like Tron as well.
It should be. Oh my god, yes.
You could
that
do.
would be good. As you say, so I really like the addition of the quick play stuff. So if you open up the box for the first time and you're not sure exactly what to build because you don't know what guns will work best, etc., just using those sheets to be kind of like, this is where I go, this is what I build, this is the loadout I need. Maybe if you're, excited by the idea, you could do a little bit of magnetization or something, or just build them and then just make it up when you change the weapons. Always a good way.
Well, it's what I've always said for a 2-player starter set. It's your jump off point into the world.
Yeah.
You cannot let someone get lost. Yes, if you're an experienced player, you can dive in, dig in, build some crazy stuff. That new person who has no idea, they're bright, they're fluffy, they just want to get the stuff on the table and start playing. Having that little bit of hand holding to start, I think is one of the most important things for any 2-player starter set. Right. Recently, I had to work through the Fallout Factions Nuka World starter set. There is no pre-built lists in that. I spent maybe half a day working through figuring out how to get it pointed so that it would feel nice, even, and have some interesting bits in it. So there was a bit more work in that. Having this quick start build guide in this, I think, is going to make this a far more enjoyable experience for a new player.
The other thing that I quite like about a lot of the stuff that TTCombat does is that their starter sets are usually stupidly reasonably priced.
Oh, yeah. Like it's almost a loss leader.
Yeah, so if you've looked at anything from like Carnivale and stuff in the past, or Dropzone Commander, they're usually very, very good value. So I'm crossing my fingers. We don't have any prices just yet, but they are going to be available to pre-order from this weekend, so you'll be able to go and get some TTCombat.
That's dangerous, because the wages drop this weekend, and I'm going to like...
There you go. And Justin starts another new hobby.
Well, actually, myself, John, and Shay have all been talking about dipping into the Dropfleet or Dropzone universe.
Cool.
So, I mean, seeing that new faction, it's tempting, and I know John likes his PHR. So if I can convince Shay to go UCM, we're in bed.
Can I make a plea that you play some games of BattleTech before you play this? But that would be great.
Yes. We've been playing BattleTech
on camera.
Oh, but that's a John problem. That's not a me problem.
Fine. Anyway.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking stuff. Benjamin. Oath sworn. No fingers here.
I heard happy, yummy Ben noises.
Yeah. So it's a little bit later down the line, but for those people who've maybe missed it, the Salute releases for Burrows and Badgers are available for you to pick up over on the Oathsworn website. And you can get them as a bundle, or you can get them individually. So the bundle itself is themed around the game that they played at the event. Although the game they were going to play at the event, they did the kind of island one this time around, which was quite fun. But this set comes with a bunch of Hedge Knights alongside a Mistgast as well. So the Hedge Knights are a squirrel, a hare, a marmot, an otter, and a beaver. So if you're diving into making a themed warband, you'll be able to pick these up and use these as the core of your little force, your royalists perhaps, or maybe you go down the mercenary route potentially as well. All looking absolutely amazing. Actually all of them are one-piece sculpts, so you just get them, stick them on the base, and away you go. And as is the case with anything from the Burrows and Badgers range, they paint up a charm. Oh my god, they're so lovely. I need to get Shay to get some more of these, and we can play some more Burrows and Badgers in the future. Yeah, I need revenge. my poor hair. But yes, there's also the massive Mistgast. So this is a sort of undead badger. Think of it almost to fit into your Mistgast necromancer themed warband. There are rules for them as part of the Oathsworn journals, which have been put together by Michael, but they are also going to be included in the new edition of Burrows and Badgers, which is coming next year, which I'm very excited about. So yes, you've got some really nice warband members there, the Mistgast, and then there's also this lovely little set, which is the Shrew Peddlers. So if you're looking to set up a fun encounter or a scenario on the tabletop, these would be really handy for that. I quite like the idea that maybe they're on their way to town and they get jobbed by the Mistgast, and the Hedge Knights have to rush in to try and help them or something, and you have to make sure that you get the shrews off the other side of the table. But yes,
why would you ever rob these? They're each carrying a single acorn in that backpack.
Well, remember that in the world of Burrows and Badgers, these are human-sized creatures, so they might have a full feast in there that you don't want to miss out on. So.
No, it's just a human-sized acorn.
Okay, fair enough.
Peddler escort quests.
Yes.
Oh, God, no. Please, Daddy, no.
Slowly. Leave the cart behind. It's my whole life. Please leave the cart behind. I can't. I hate you, shrews. I hate you so much.
What was in the cart? A single net.
Yeah. But
that's well, that would get the squirrel on board.
As well as these, just a little note as well, Michael has also said that he's working on 2 new themed starter warbands for when the new edition comes out next year. So when the new book drops, alongside Osprey Games, once again, they're going to be a new set of warbands for you to pick up and dive into the game fresh, which will be really fun. And they're going to be all new miniatures, so keep an eye out for those, which is going to be lovely. So yes, Burrows and Badgers, buy it. It's amazing. They're wonderful people. So.
This episode was brought to you by Burrows and Badgers.
7-Up and Burrows and Badgers.
So we just call this the Ben Shill episode.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody has to.
Yeah. We also have some amazing news that came out of the worlds of Warhammer this week.
Whamster Worlds.
It was the Nova Open, and I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch this crap.
Oof.
But actually, some of it's crap, some of it's great. And we're going to start off with the great stuff and slowly work our way
slowly descend.
Slowly descend, like a sewer level, into the crap. Yeah. So we start off with some amazing stuff for the War of the Rohirrim and the new edition of the Middle-earth strategy battle game. As folks will know by now, if you listened to my massive spiel a couple of weeks ago on the Weekender, a new edition of the game is coming in, the end of this year in December, alongside War of the Rohirrim. And this is going to see the Dunlendings going up against the Rohirrim for a battle for Edoras and beyond. And one of the new miniatures that's been showcased this week is for Wolf, the son of the Dunlending king who was, the lord anyway, who was killed by Helm Hammerhand with a single punch.
Single punch. One punch.
Yeah, One Punch Man. The
That's
best
him.
version of him. So yes, with Freka dead, Wolf is ready to enact his revenge upon the people of Rohan, and this is a brand new plastic miniature, or a couple of plastic miniatures that are going to be coming our way. You get the on-foot version, as you can see there, with his 2 sabers at the ready, and there is also a mounted version as well, because obviously in Middle-earth you can hop on your horse, you can have your horse killed from under you, and you can keep on fighting and all that kind of good stuff. Based around the aesthetic and the theme, I suppose, of the anime characters from the new War of the Rohirrim film, but done in the style of the rest of the new plastic miniatures for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. So a lot of the vibe and the feel of those characters, but not out and out an anime styled character, which I think is quite.
Well, this is it. They have to be able to mix them with the existing range, which is all sculpted based on real people.
Real people in the Jackson films, yeah. So
it's interesting to see how they're going to take some of the anime concepts and then realize them to make them look not like cartoons made flesh.
I
like him. It's very nice to watch.
I think they look great so far. I love that it's plastic as well, because that is putting us in good vibes for the fact that this guy's probably going to appear in the new box set. I would also imagine we're going to see new miniatures. We already have a resin miniature for Helm Hammerhand. I would assume we're probably going to see a plastic version for him, or maybe they'll go with his daughter and they'll use her as the kind of focal point for that set, and then they'll keep Helm Hammerhand as a separate Forge World model. We'll have to wait and see. But my fingers are crossed, and my toes, and my horse's hooves for some new plastic infantry and cavalry for Rohan, because that would be amazing, and it could start a lovely cascade effect where all the old plastics finally get updated after 20 odd years of time on the table.
Oh no, it wouldn't be a kick in the bum of 25 at this stage, is it?
No, yeah. God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Frightening.
Time flies.
But also interesting that
2000,
you mentioned
2001 for the first ones, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that they could potentially replace the Riders and Walkers of Rohan
yes.
with the Rohirrim. Because there should be no change in equipment or stuff. They just get new plastics that aren't flat.
Yes.
I suppose
love it.
Is the best way to put them. Yeah.
Are you trying to make me rebuy an entire Rohan army? Yes, you are, Games Workshop. Will I do it? Yes, I will. So
here's the weird thing. The range at the minute is actually still the most affordable range that Workshop make.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the starter armies are still within pocket money range.
Yeah, it's an affordable game. The rules are the best that Games Workshop have ever made, I say.
Do you know why? Because they didn't touch them.
Well, yeah. And even the new edition of the rules isn't going to be a massive departure from what we've already seen so far. So what I'm saying is, it's going to be a Middle-earth year next year.
Yeah.
It's medieval this time, and then it's Middle-earth next year. There we go.
So we're going for that gaming cycle, so it's going to go historical, fantasy, sci-fi, historical, fantasy, sci-fi.
Yeah. The rules might actually be linked to the license. Maybe there's a thing of like, you just can't.
That's why they haven't been able to massively change them or go in and just make it all weird.
Yeah.
That'd be good. More licenses like that, please.
Yeah. The thing that's quite nice about this as well is that the team behind the game genuinely seem to give a shit about it. So I'm hoping that carries through into what they do in the future. Yeah. But anyway, Middle-earth, looking great. Watch out for more in the near future.
So middle management not being allowed their cattle prod?
Probably, yeah. Because someone at Warner Brothers is like, yeah.
Right. Into Age of Sigmar then. So a non-IP fantasy game from Games Workshop where they do change the rules.
We saw them do the Skaven reveal a couple of weeks ago, which we had a look through, where they talked about all the new stuff that's coming with Skaven because they won the battle for Hell Crown and they managed to destroy the city and overrun part of Akshi, but hoping to hold back the Skaven tide. And that was the name of the box. I wonder why they did that. There are a couple of new Stormcast Eternals units coming out. There are new heroes, returning reforged heroes, and also some new troops as well to help bolster the forces of Order. There are some absolutely wonderful miniatures in this collection. A lot of them based around the idea of the Ruination Chamber and sort of building on the idea of the Stormcast Eternals who are coming towards the end of their reforging cycle effectively and need to be sent out into the darkest and deepest areas of the mortal realms to either die or be cut down by their own kind, potentially as a mercy. Leading the way, we have Iridan the Witness, who was the first Stormcast Eternal to kill one of their own kin. And that was because they just couldn't face the future of their reforging process and so were cut down by their axe. Sigmar was obviously not particularly happy about that, but after he had a little bit of a chat with Sigmar, Iridan here, alongside Iona's Cryptborn, they formed the Ruination Chamber, and now they happily go around cutting each other's heads off to kind of save them from their future. But yes, Iridan can be dropped into Ruination armies and beyond as well, of course, atop the wonderful mount that you see there. Absolutely gorgeous sculpt. Really grimdark. Really super awesome. Cool. Love it.
Like how it's got an executioner's hood on it so that people don't know which griffin it was.
Yeah.
It's just a job, mate. I've got a wife and kids at home.
Yeah.
Takes the hood off the end of the day.
The one day it forgets, who are you? You don't work here. Oh, crap.
Yeah. As well as Iridan the Witness, which is the character model. That set also makes the Lord Vigilant on Morgriff. So the Lord Vigilant we've previously seen on foot was part of the Skaven Tide box set. This gives you a mounted version as well. And even though I don't like the spear, I know that it makes sense for a mounted character to have a long weapon because a sword would just be silly. So yes, while I don't like it, I like that it exists as a weapon option for this one. And it's a nice little kit again. It's nice to see that even changing something as simple as the head really changes the vibe of the miniature. And then obviously the paint scheme takes it in a different direction as well. But a nice little kit there that's an alternative build for that set when it comes out. We also then have a couple of new commander models that are revamps. Oh, there's King Conan, yeah. That are revamps of the of existing models. So these are Thunderstrike variants of existing kits. So the Lord Celestant has been around for ages. they're now doing a new version which comes with a bunch of different options for you to choose from when you're building it. So they've got the sort of gender neutral armor effectively, so you could play around with it however you like, and then you can choose different weapon options. So you can go with the hammer and the sword, hammer and the shield, or hammer and then like a raised fist, which I think looks a little bit weird. I think it's just because the arm feels a little bit
so straight.
Yeah, and a bit. Yeah, it needs to be like up a little bit like that, I think.
For that one, I'd nearly just put twin hammers on.
Or just put twin hammers on. Yeah, that would be a good way of going it, actually, probably. Because obviously you could mix and match to see how to take it in different directions, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it also means that you could build this Lord Celestant in 3 different ways, or however many different ways, and then use them throughout your army as all from the same kit, which I think is quite nice. So a nice little update on that front. There's also a new Lord Relictor. Ionis Cryptborn was the original Lord Relictor who came out in the very, very first Warhammer Age of Sigmar box set. That model has now been retired because obviously Ionis Cryptborn now comes on the back of his dragon, and then this is the new Lord Relictor, or as a lot of people have said, oh look, my next chaplain.
Yeah, Dark Angel Chaplain.
Dark Angel Chaplain.
Yeah, basically instantly jumped out and went, wait, that's
hello, Asmodeus.
240k.
It's been so long.
You know your new interrogator. So yes, a new miniature there in, again, Thunderstrike armor for the Lord Relictor, and a good option for you to add into your armies to take them down the priestly route. We already have Knight Relictors and everything as well, so if you really wanted to kind of shun magic and go down a different path, you've got those options.
Shun the unbeliever. Shun.
We also have a variant model for the Lord Terminos. So there was a Lord Terminos in the Scaventide box set who had his axe sort of down in front of him. It looked like a little bit of a headsman in that one. This is a new version that's going to be available separately. Will come with the axe, as you can see there, or you can change it up for a sword if you so desire. He's either pointing out his new enemy, or he's pointing out the Stormcast that he's about to kill, because he's like, yes, my job.
Actually, no, with the guy with the hourglass, he's pointing out and going, I'm sorry, our hour is up.
Your appointment is over. Yes, you will have to go back to the cells. But yes, new character there in the form of the Lord Terminos, and a new miniature, which will be available separately. I would assume the other one's still going to be available in the Scaventide box set, and maybe it would be available later in a bundle, potentially. They tend to do that with these kind of things, but we'll see.
Why would you not use the axe if you've got the choice there?
Yeah,
the axe is superior.
Cool. Yeah, the axe is super cool. There's also a new variant set for the Reclusians. Again, the Reclusians came as part of the Scaventide box set, but there's going to be a new set available separately. Comes with more weapon options and head options and everything in between. So if you're looking to add those into your armies, you can do. As I said, a lot of the focus is on the idea of the Ruination Chamber being much more of a fuller force. So it's not just that you can now make it so that they are the kind of bulk of your army. You could sort of move Liberators and Prosecutors and that kind of thing to the side, and instead bring just a lot of Reclusians alongside things like the Lord Terminos and the other characters that we've seen, and do a very elite army that kind of shrug off incoming game effects and magic and all that kind of thing to keep fighting. There's also these options, which I think are probably going to be another War Scroll card, separate from the normal Reclusians. They come with what look like the Soul, I think they were called Soulstorm maces, that used to exist on previous Paladin models for the Stormcast. And they're now rocking out with those badass maces you can see there, looking to crack some skulls. And again, you can see more of the different head options and stuff available to them as part of the set too. So yeah, lots more stuff for the Reclusians. There's also a last set of miniatures. This is the new Cavalry for the Stormcast Eternals. They get the Stormstrike Paladors. Paladors have existed previously for the game. You could get them with the Vanguard Chamber, which are your kind of scouts for your army, but they've now got new versions with Thunderstrike armor, as you can see here, riding into battle with their banners and everything at the ready. You're probably going to want to bulk this out and reinforce the unit and have maybe 6 of them running around, because obviously you can build them as a command set, as you can see there with the champion and the standard bearer, and then add on an extra 3 just to bulk out the force, give you some extra attacks and some extra buffs when you're wounds as well. Yes,
just extra wounds to keep your champion alive. They are champion delivery system.
Keep that charge going on the tabletop. Yes. There is also possibly one of the dumbest things I've seen in a long time, which is the new terrain feature for the Stormcast Eternals, which is the Stormreach portal. It's basically like what was the thing for the Necrons that they could have? Monolith.
The monolith.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
it's like a monolith for the Stormcast. You kind of set it on the tabletop, and your troops can kind of like bamf through it. I think it's a fine idea, but I think the realm gates they originally designed were way better than this. It just looks too boxy and odd, and like they've stuck stuff on the top just for the sake of it.
It's got a fancy hat. It's going to Ascot.
It does have a very nice fancy hat. Yeah.
If it makes sense narratively, it might not make some sense for the rules, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah. But interesting kit there on that front. All of this is going to be contained within a new battle tome, I should say, for the Stormcast Eternals, not 2 new ones, although there are 2 variants. There's the Order Battle Tome, which will be the one that everyone can pick up, that everyone knows and loves, which you'll be able to get your hands on, which will come with lore and all sorts of other updates. Apparently, they've retweaked the way that battle tomes work now, so it'll be interesting to see what's actually included within the book. There will also be a gamer edition, which they seem to have clarified a little bit more since we looked at the Skaven one, which just basically is the battle tome and then all of the cards in the same pack. So yes, that's going to be coming out as well. I would assume it's also just thinned down to just the rules rather than having the lore in there. But that's also going to be available. So yes, lots of stuff for the for Age of Sigmar and the Stormcast Eternals. Looking good. As a Stormcast Eternals collector, I'll be buying quite a few of those new sets.
I was about to ask.
Yes.
Will they be getting the black armor treatment and joining Ben's merry band of?
They will be joining Gambas of the Helden Hammer. Yeah. Amazing stuff.
Fancy.
Oh, just a couple more things to talk about on the Warhammer front. 2 more.
Yes.
We have some fun stuff for Blood Bowl. That was one of the big major announcements for the Nova Open. Whatever,
Blood Bowl
I
still
guess.
exists.
Yes, Blood Bowl still exists. And in fact, remember, you can win it as a prize for this episode.
Yes, you can. Comment over on Tabletop.
Yeah. You can get your hands on the new Chaos Dwarf team coming up later this year, which gives you new miniatures for you to dive into for that. It is a brand new, you can have, obviously has some of a themed team. You can just play them as that, which is the Tsar Nagrund Ziggurats. Very Chaos
Always
Dwarfy.
have been.
But you could also, it's drawing from the annals of history, yes. You could also obviously take them in different directions and make whatever team you desire for use in your games of Blood Bowl. Making up the core of your team are, of course, the Chaos Dwarves. Block your way to victory is the way to go. Why would you do anything else? Make a little dwarven cage and just move the ball up the pitch very,
just walk
very slowly.
the ball in the middle.
And score 1-0. Win your games.
Used to do the same with Undead. They called it the funeral march.
Yeah.
Just have one guy with the ball in the middle and then just mummies all around him.
Cage. The funeral
and then
march.
you have all your goblin chaff.
Yes. There's also a whole bunch of the hobgoblins, as you can see there as well, that are going to be useful for your linesmen and basically make sure that the opponent doesn't get through your lines. The Chaos Dwarves also get access to Flamesmiths, who you can see they're drinking down potions. They, as you might imagine, drink down their vile liquid, and then they can take their grog as they set alight to your opponents. So if you're looking to just absolutely burninate your opponent, you're going to get the option to do that, which is quite fun. There are also the sneaky stabbers, as you can see there as well, with their daggers at the ready, who are going to be able to shank people as they run around on the tabletop and have some fun, causing all sorts of damage when the referee's not looking or when he is looking. And then you can just
if I remember correctly, they got a bonus to fouling, but I can't remember whether it was a bonus on the armor roll or less of a chance of being sent off.
Normally on the armor roll, isn't it? Yeah. But and then they get the increased chance of getting sent off as well. But yes. So that's the new plastic team, which is going to be coming out, which looks really nice. I think the guys that designed the Blood Bowl teams just have a whale of a time. The gnome team that we saw previously was gorgeous, and this one's no different. Capping off this team as well, there are also some Forge World resin releases coming out as well. So you've got these plastic team members, but if you want to add in some big guys, you'll be able to get yourself the Bull Centaurs as well, who are going to thunder down the pitch, knock everyone out of the way. Why would you wouldn't want to step in the way of one of those blitzes? I suppose you don't have a choice. But yes, you're going to get crushed under those hooves, no doubt.
And I imagine that's a mighty uppercut.
Oh, yes. And I imagine a lot of people are going to be getting these and using them to build old world armies as well. I would note. I would doubt. So yes, nice stuff on that front. Very cool.
They are chunky monkeys.
They are very chunky monkeys. They are
Beefy
the
boys.
chunkiest of monkeys.
I'd like to see a Lloyd shot for them.
Yes, it would be good to look at the sea from behind.
Oh, you want to see the
'Cause
hindquarters?
They're really leaning into the bull side of the bull centaur a lot more than previous iterations, where the body of the animal isn't matching the upper torso. And I think it looks better for it. Actually having the big, hefty bull base and then just the smaller chorf stitched on top. It's not.
I'll abstain from starting the 2 ribcage discussion.
Oh, you're fine.
They got to have 2 rib cages, surely.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's how it works.
like a space marine.
Yes.
Or a doctor.
Let's not even go there with Space Marines rib cages fused into one solid piece. Good luck bending ever. Anyway.
Good luck breathing.
But yeah, they're a cracking set of plastics.
Yeah, they are.
And I quite like what they've done with the ridiculous hats.
Yes.
They're still ridiculous. Again, I'd like to see them from behind. I wonder if they sloop back like a Russian Orthodox bishop, or if they're like some sort of.
Oh, you wonder if it's just like a fin,
just a frontage.
Yeah, I'm curious. I am by nature a curious man. Anyway, really nice stuff.
You know how to fix that? Go buy them.
Yeah.
Nope.
Capping things off, we have.
I've got the Mel ones original cigarette. Why would I buy a new set?
Yeah. Capping things off, we have possibly the worst roadmaps ever designed in history that tell us nothing. But we'll go through them anyway, just to give people the lowdown. Games Workshop put together a variety of these for some of their games. So you've got one for 40k, one for Age of Sigmar, one for the Old World, Horus Heresy. They are mostly. I'll refrain from using the word that I use to describe this to my friends, but they are very self-aggrandizing, shall we say, roadmaps. The one for Warhammer 40,000 tells us everything that we already knew. And then there's a little tiny bit of information. So there are some key bits in this one that are a little bit better than the others. Astra Militarum are going to be kicking off 2025. Interestingly, Blood Angels are going to see out the rest of 2024, which is quite a lot of no 40k for the rest of this year, which is interesting.
But 3 months-ish to go.
Yeah. But at the start of 2025, we'll see the Astra Militarum, and as you can tell by the image on the cover of the new codex, you can see there, Death Corps of Krieg are going to be making a reappearance as a
they had to kill the Gideons at some point.
Yeah, well, so Death Corps of Krieg already have their plastic infantry, thanks to Kill Team. But all the other stuff is going to get fleshed out. So you're going to get to see lots of additional new elite elements and all that kind of thing.
Oh, the cavalry, they hurt so much.
It would be cool to see them come out and not be in resin. Yes. The Eldari, my faction of choice, Iandan Forever, Ghost Boys, baby, are going to be seeing a revamp of all of the rest of the Aspect Warriors. We talked about Swooping Hawks earlier. They're coming. Please tell me they're coming. Oh my God. If they don't,
they've been retired and replaced with a new super uber kit.
So yes,
Eldari bird flu has broken out.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
No. I think it's Fire Dragons, Warp Spiders.
Oh no, Fire Dragon's got new. In fact, Fire Dragon's got 2 new. Yeah, because I've got a new set and an old set.
Oh, okay.
So it's just Warp Spiders and Swooping Hawk.
Okay.
Shining Spear's got new.
Shining Spear's got one in the last update.
Yeah, they're actually in plastic now.
They are plastic now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on that front. Maybe new Dire Avengers, because they're still quite old models comparatively to the new Guardians anyway, I suppose. And then the thing they didn't talk about in their stream, Knights are also coming out. More information was in this image than was in the actual stream that they bothered to put on and talk to people about. But anyway.
Oh, man. Their only goal is to ruin your sleep.
Yeah,
yes,
it is very much so. And then you can see a little tiny thing at the bottom there, special chaos treats. Everyone thinks that's just going to be Emperor's Children, which it probably will be. So keep an eye out for that in the future. Next roadmap is another. I'm really trying hard not to say the rude word that I used.
Yes,
is another one is for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which
focus on this side, Ben.
Yes. So. Lots of stuff they've already done so far. Interestingly, as we already seen, Skaven, Stormcast Eternal is going to be the 2 first battle tomes. Third one's going to be Slaves to Darkness, which is going to be coming out towards the end of this year, which is quite nice to know. And then 2025, nebulous stuff. Death, just death. Does it mean death the faction? Does it mean you're going to kill everybody? Who knows? They've worked it into their marketing and they just haven't told anyone the proper reason. But yes, death is coming.
But before that, they're doing all factions.
All factions. Army boxes. Spearheads. What? Who would have thought it?
This is so naff.
Yeah. The one key bit of information for this is the Spearheads for Destruction. So the Uruk War Clans are going to be getting one based around the Iron Jaws because they currently don't have one. And then they're also looks like they're going to be revamping the Gloomspike Gits one as well. But don't worry, if you already have the old one, that'll still be viable. We'll see where that one goes. Not too much information on that front for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. A lot of stuff we've already seen so far anyway.
But I suppose with the new edition of the game, all factions might not even mean new miniatures. It may just be, here's your new battle scroll that we've updated.
On. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Rebox and move on. So, death. When was the last time the Necrons got an update in this? What do you call the Aussie Arc Bone Reapers?
Aussie Arc Bone Reapers, yeah. Or the Soulblight Beat Blops, as Eons of Battle calls it.
So
for the other side of things. But yes, lots of things.
That would be my guess.
Warhammer the Old World also got a little bit of a roadmap. Again, not really much to say on this one.
So far, we've launched it.
Yes, they've launched it. They're actually getting to the cycle of releasing things. Warriors of Chaos are going to see out this year. There's going to be a few more bits and pieces for the end of this one as well. But the next faction to come into play will be the Empire of Man. That's going to be the next one that follows on from Warriors of Chaos in the early portion of 2025. Followed up by High Elves later in the year as well. So keep an eye out for those. That White Lions of Thrace army is still the back of my mind.
Dangling, teasing you.
But yes, depending on what they do for the Empire of Man, I might also go down the route of like a Witch Hunter Warband or something as well. That could be quite cool, but we'll see.
I didn't think they did anything battle anymore.
Well, you'd say that maybe they should have think about the time period they set things in, but they don't seem to have done that. So
no.
And then they're saying more factions, which means we haven't decided yet.
Exactly, very much so. Does it mean that they're going to bring back some of the factions that are in PDF? We'll never know, I suppose, but we'll see where they go with that.
Well, we will. We just have to wait.
Yeah, wait and see. Last but not least, the worst roadmap of all the roadmaps.
Good.
Hang on, Ben. Wait, pause. I just realized something.
Yes.
If you follow the line, Empire of Man is actually last in 2025.
Oh, no, don't worry. That's just bad graphic design. They're the first one in 2025. As they said in the stream, followed by the
ignore the line, put your hand over the left-hand side of the screen and just read the right from top to bottom and you're fine.
Yeah,
all right.
So dumb. It is so dumb.
Yeah, that's ick.
Yeah. Last but not least, Warhammer the Horus Heresy. Things are happening. That more or less sums this up. John wrote this one. As you were saying, Jerry. So the race is going to be more stuff in 2024. They have said other factions are waiting for their perfect moment to strike, which is so incredibly nebulous. But in 2025, more Horus Heresy, more Legions Imperialis, tanks by the bucketful, and something new every month. Could be one model, could be many. We'll have to wait and see. I am waiting for Legion Imperialis to start doing little tiny Primarchs. Why are you not doing little tiny Primarchs? That would be like an amazing seller. People would love it. But anyway,
because it would have to be not just the Primarch, but the Primarch and a retinue to make it worthwhile. You're hardly going to buy one miniature that's this big.
I think you underestimate people who buy from Games Workshop. And it'll be 20 quid.
I have overestimated humanity.
Yeah. But yes.
They sold them before when Epic existed in the past.
Little tiny Magnus.
You could buy a single miniature.
Yeah. But
in a blister pack.
The Primarchs, the Demon Primarchs were all the size of a 28mm/25mm figure.
Well, that at least makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a massive difference. Well, that stuff's Forge Worldy anyway, isn't it? If they're going to do it, they could do it in resin. So do a little resin diorama.
It'll be a mix because Forge World, Legions Imperialis is all plastic currently. But Horus Heresy is a mixture of both plastic and resin, but they're slowly recycling through and updating everything to be plastic, more or less.
If they're going to do Primarchs, then do the Primarchs as resin dioramas from Forge World.
Easily.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't be small anyway because they've inflated all of the Primarchs to ridiculous sizes for no good reason. I still say any child found in the woods that's the size of a small car should have been killed with a brick. You don't take those things home.
And this is why Jerry has never rescued a pet.
When the Emperor turns up, where are my sons?
If I went looking for a pet and I found a hamster that was the size of a mini, I wouldn't take that home. So anyone have it as a pet. It makes no sense. Why are the Primarchs so big? It's ridiculous idea. They're all the size of humans. The whole point of them is the size of humans. There's a whole story in the Space Wolf Codex about the Emperor arriving and him being smaller than Russ because he's just a regular human, and people laughing because he's a weedy guy, not built like a tank. And then the Emperor just lifted a power fist and went bump and knocked Russ out. Just bopped him on top of the head. That doesn't make any sense. If the Emperor arrives and he's like 1 million feet tall. And again, if the Emperor arrives and he's 1 million feet tall, you don't open the door to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Big Primarch humans again. Anyway, that's enough news.
Cap. Yeah.
Yes. Let's take a look at some 3D printing. Okay then, Ben, we're looking at Eons of Battle for this week's 3D printing.
Yeah, so we mentioned a little bit of Eons of Battle earlier in the show. A lot of people know them as, Jay, as the creator of the YouTube channel, Eons of Battle, who does loads of awesome videos and has a fascination with Black Templars. Really, really likes Black Templars. But as well as that, Eons of Battle also has a Patreon and My Mini Factory that you can see here that provides lots of STL files for you to download that will allow you to make really fun and interesting thematic tabletops for your games. A lot of the focus is on grim, darky, future-y stuff. So if you're looking to build up interesting tabletops for Warhammer 40,000 or one-page rules or anything in between, you have some really nice options on that front. There was recently actually a video, which I'll probably link down in the description below, where Jay went through all of the different sets that they've currently made, so that you can sort of get a look at how they look when they're painted and the design philosophy behind them as well. There's some really cool bits and pieces in here that sort of take things in different directions. So this is their kind of Dark Eldar Drukhari style set that they did, because they recently, they talked about the fact that, Jay was going down the route of, alongside, I think it was Ninjon, of doing a Drukhari build-off effectively, as they tried to build up their armies together. And Jay wanted some terrain to go alongside it. And so rather than just going off the old stuff, went and sort of built their own bits and pieces you can see here, with lots of sort of torture racks and everything else in between, as is befitting of the Drukhari and the Dark Eldar. So if you're looking to build up a rather interesting corner of Camorra, perhaps, then this is a good option for you to choose from.
Slave girls. Just like you got on the Astral Vex Raider.
Yes.
This is clearly more of an outpost.
Yes, on the fringes of some empire somewhere, yeah. You could also maybe even use some of this stuff to make something a little bit Jabba the Hutt-esque, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah. But a lot of the terrain that Eons has done is based around the releases that we've had over the last year or so. So when Gene Stealer Cults and things came out, they did some terrain that would be applicable to that. So they've done like a really cool mining facility and stuff. When they did the Kill Team Gallodark bits and pieces, they went through and designed interesting kind of like science facilities and experimental chambers and stuff like that. So a lot of this is kind of tied into what already exists out there in the world from Games Workshop. It could easily be bolted onto their official terrain if you ever wanted to do it. A lot of thought has gone into the design and the narrative of a lot of the pieces that Eons of Battle have done, which I think is a nice little touch. So it feels like it should work in world and helps you come up with interesting ideas for scenarios. That mining bulkhead bit, that sort of mine entrance, I think is really cool for the idea of like a scenario based around the Gene Stealer Cults, where, because they can pop up from all over the place and they can ambush and all that kind of thing, using that as the central point for like where they might come from. So you could have the vehicles bursting out of there, like the Attilan Rough Riders, not the Rough Riders, sorry, but they've got like Attilan Bikers or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, those zooming onto the battlefield, alongside all sorts of things like the Goliaths and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, it's really nice terrain, really well put together. There's lots of detail in there as well. I think Jay designed some of these boxes and had one of them as like a surprise box. So that one that's open was like actually just a Gene Stealer leaping out of it.
This one.
So it's, yes,
But sorry, this one here with the claw.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Yes.
don't open it. Nope. It's the 40k equivalent of a mimic. Gene stealer in a box.
Exactly. Yes, very much so. But yeah, there's also some stuff in there for Age of Sigmar. If you go down to the bottom right there, Jerry, you can see like the fungal cave.
The Goblin Rave Cave.
The Goblin Rave Cave, yes. So that was done for Gloomspike Gits. But obviously you could use this as the, I suppose, the spawning pits of your Orc army in Warhammer 40,000 as well, if you wanted to. Because obviously, as we all know, they grow from mushrooms. I don't think they've changed that law. I hope they haven't anyway. That was the best thing. You can never get rid of orcs because they would always seed the ground.
There's always spores somewhere. That's why you need to. That's why you need to use a plague bomb to get rid of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the only way to be sure.
It's the only way to be sure. Yeah.
I quite like the rock formations, the large rock formations with the stalag tights.
Tights go down.
Yes, mites go up, tights go down. Yeah. Barlon Brando, Susan Dando, gotta have a system. It's another one for the kids. But they're really nice, especially because we were talking about something exactly like that on the XLBS with Warren about 2 weeks ago.
We were. Yeah.
So
these would be a good fit for that. Building a little bit of set.
I mean, if we were to tell him that is absolutely nailed on exactly what he needs, he'd be as happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah.
Shame. Yeah. Maybe if he watches the show, he'll know. Hi, Warren.
We'll get a message on Monday.
I'm actually saying there's one of these sets that I definitely would love to build a table from.
Which one's that
the
one?
Corpse Cannery.
Oh, yes. So kind of Necromunda boards. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. It's for all those. What do they call it in
corpse starch?
Corpse starch. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, which if left sealed in a chamber for too long, turns into a psychotropic drug, if I remember right.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's in like the core rulebook for Necromunda. I remember reading through it years ago now.
Huh. Awesome.
What was the name of it? I forget.
This is really funky. It's a touch of
the out of skulls and stuff.
Skulls, yeah.
What's the Cubicle 7 RPG where the gods have died? Broken Weave. People are harvesting gods / giants for bits while the world crumbles around them.
Mm-hmm. Be perfect for it. Or the Forests of Gur in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as well.
Gur.
So, Arg. But yeah, Eons of Battle's done really nice stuff there, as you can see. It's definitely worth checking out their Patreon if you want to get your hands on stuff, obviously ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to pick up any of the older kits, you can simply just go over to My Mini Factory and check it out. And I would also recommend, as I say, I'll put a link down below, going to check out Jay over on Eons of Battle and their YouTube channel, because they do really fun videos and lots of interesting, cool tips and tricks for sculpting and kit bashing and painting quickly, which I think is really, really nice. So go and check him out. Really good stuff.
Fancy smancy. Okay, then. We have a couple of Kickstarters to round out the show. And the first thing we're going to be looking at are some delightfully fun, old school undead from Scibor? Scibor?
I think it was Scibor back in the day.
I've always called it
back in the
Scibor.
day, but I've been told that it's Scibor now.
Yes.
So I don't know. But anyway.
Presumably because that's a name and not a thing. So presumably there is a specific way of pronouncing it. Somebody can phonetically spell it for us.
Yes.
With the comments.
But Bad Guys is the project. It is a series of 32 to 35 millimeter scale, I say, bad guys for use in your fantasy war games. They are all hand sculpted, as you'd expect from Scibor. And they cover a variety of undead creatures, is kind of like the main theme of this one. Mainly because they did the Town Guard as the last project, and it went really well, and everyone was like, we need enemies for the Town Guard to face, and everyone was like, undead, please, undead, give me undead. And so you've got undead warriors and archers and undead dwarves as well, which is quite a thematic thing for Scibor as well, because they do a lot of dwarves.
A lot of dwarves.
Quite a lot of dwarves. But in addition to the undead warriors and archers and such, there's also cultists, deserters, and wraiths. So if you're looking to build up a little bit of a undead warband for whatever game you might be playing, you can dive in and get that too. The Undead Lords, I think, are absolutely fantastic as well.
Yeah.
They're going to be really nice boss monsters for you to fight in Dungeon Delves and skirmish games like Rangers of Shadow Deep and Frostgrave and all that kind of stuff as well. And as I say, in general, all hand-sculpted loveliness, all available in high-quality resin, as is the case with everything from Scibor as well, and could well be the start of a new warband or dungeon delving collection for your games on the tabletop.
All yellow robes.
Lovely.
Just all yellow robes. Yellow robes.
Especially with the head on that stick, yeah.
Yeah, and then use them with the Underdark game we played, Ben.
Altar of the Dead Gods.
Altar of the Dead Gods. Because it's got a really good cultist list. And I just need some yellow-robed cultists. I've got the leader here. I just don't have any cultists to go with him.
I like that there's a pint-sized cultist in there as well.
Yes. Tiny cultist.
Yeah.
You don't have to be big to be bad.
Oh, quite like the fact that in amongst them are just some town guards who've had enough of this.
They've deserted and joined the Necrons.
Well, they didn't get paid.
Yeah. Don't pay me, I'll join the undead.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They are cracking.
Yeah, gorgeous. The thing that I really liked, especially about the Undead Lords, was the weight of the models.
Yes.
Because obviously that would normally have been held by muscle, but I like that the magic is animating the bodies to carry just these huge clanking suits of armor. And you could just imagine them kind of like creaking and sort of squeaking against each other as they walk forward. Such a cool sort of atmospheric idea in the head of what that would look like on the tabletop. But yeah, very good.
You two can have a fun dead king. This I really like. The Necromancer bust. Anybody who follows him on the Book of Face will know he does an awful lot of large scale sculpting. And a lot of the time he just does it in plasticine, going, I've just made a 1/6 scale figure of and you go, but that's gorgeous. Is that ever good? No, just bored.
I was just doing it for me.
Anatomical, sort of sculpting and bits and pieces. So his large scale stuff is stunning as well.
It is lovely.
And it's not just a case of, because I know some people were looking at this recently with the likes of Mantic's Vault. People were looking for busts. And Mantic went, well, here's a bust where we've taken something that was designed for 28 and blew it up. But you're not getting extra detail. There's no. It's not specifically been sculpted to be a bust, so you're not getting the extra intricate details that you would expect to see on them. But there you can see things like the texture of the actual fabric and the like is all there, and he looks very familiar. The actor who played Ed Monsieur in Game of Thrones, the one, Blackfish's brother who got captured by the Lannisters. He's a touch of it, especially in that middle one.
Yeah.
A little bit fat around the jowls, mind you. Maybe we'll come back to that actor in another 15 years and he'll look just like that. Kidnap him, put a hood on him, see how close I was.
Does this mean I have to save this clip for 15 years?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'll just save the image into my file with his home address. Get to it eventually. It's all fine. We're all fine here. I've been busting away through this great guns, unlocking all sorts of weird and wonderful bits and pieces, from additional miniatures to just nice little bits to have as well, sort of terrain dressing and the like, especially for basing. It's very cool. The Commander of the Deserters upcoming, if they hit that. And I hope they do, because he's a chunky monkey. He looks like he's seen how the Undead Lords are dressing. I thought, what about that? Someday I too could be a wraith or a wight stalking around a barrow. That's my goal. That's a life goal.
I've been promised it.
I've been promised I'll live forever.
But, but what quality of life?
Monkey's paw. Yeah.
Well, if we could only get a monkey's paw, that's very good for Warhammer Quest players who need the Lich King on us through.
Oh, yes.
Although I won't worry too much. The Robber Knights are
that looks nice.
Spanking gorgeous. Nice Warhammer as well.
Yeah.
Too many Warhammers these days are more like moles. Huge things. I like a nice thin Warhammer, something that'll smash armor and break bones.
A Birmingham screwdriver.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could say that.
I can.
So if I said that, I'd be accused of being racist.
4 days left.
Definitely not enough, Jerry.
Scibor's Bad Guys. Make sure to check that out before it goes. Obviously, make sure you go and check out all the add-ons as well as Jerry was showing off there, as it's pretty much a lot of the fantasy range from Scibor anyway. So,
I had to stop, otherwise I'd be there all day.
In the same annals of great sculptors as Mr. Boris himself, I would say.
Yes.
Mr. Scibor.
Right up there. Oh, if we collaborate them somehow. Just get them
collaborate and listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
We have a bit more of Kickstarter from DeepWars. The Abyssals looking very undead fantasy again now.
Yeah, in a way. So DeepWars Abyssal Doom is a new Kickstarter from the folks at AntiMatter Games. We've talked about DeepWars in the past, and Shadowsea, which is their other game as well, which is a underwater themed skirmish game, which will have you sort of looking for loot and treasures beneath the ocean in Atlantean vaults and beyond. For the last couple of years, they've done a lot of stuff digitally. So you're able to buy a lot of their miniatures as STL files and print them off alongside things like game mats and the components and everything else. But with this campaign, they're looking to offer up both digital options for people who want to go down that route, but also physical miniatures and also physical full sets as well, so that you can start playing without the need for a 3D printer if you don't have one in your life or someone who has one. So with this one, they're going to do the new Abyssal Doom box, as the title would suggest.
Like crabs.
It's a narratively driven campaign skirmish game where one player takes on the role of a breach team. Now, a breach team could be the Fortune Hunters, or it could be one of the other factions from the DeepWars range. You get to choose which one is printed for you and added into the box. And then the other player takes on the role of the Invaders of the Void, which are those undead, dark-looking individuals who are trying to stop you. And so you'll dive into this campaign and you'll play through all the various scenarios on the wonderful little map boards and things that they've created, and sort of delve deeper into the story, see if your characters evolve and change over time, reap rewards from your missions, and see if you can eventually get to the end of the campaign as the victor. The set also comes with a variety of wild creatures, because one of the fun things about DeepWars, it being underwater, is there are a lot of other creatures dwelling out in the depths, and they will be looking to hunt you down, swimming through the shallows and everything else, to spear you on the end of swordfish spikes, or chop you in half with their wonderful jaws, or just crush you like that massive crustacean, as you can see there.
But then it's just going to pick you apart and just num 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 num.
It's going to suck you dry like
twice in a row, Ben. Really?
I didn't go too far. This time. But
maybe a blobfish will just get a crush on you.
Yes.
Spend a lot of time hanging over your shoulder. Big blobby face.
But yes, so they are going to work on the printing of all of the miniatures, but then as you can see there, L427 level 427 designs will do all the terrain and things for you as well. And as Jerry's showing off here, there are a couple of different options for you to choose from. So if you go down the deluxe box set route, that's when you get everything printed, including all the components and all the miniatures. This builds on their previous sets as well. So if you've got some of the other stuff that they've done, they're offering those as physical rewards as well as digital ones. So if you want to follow the full storyline of DeepWars and you don't want to necessarily just jump in at Abyssal Doom, which you can do, the story is self-contained, you can go back and look through all the other previous campaigns and get your hands on those as well, which I think is a really nice little option from them. And as you can see by the funding total, it's already going great guns. They've matched their total, so it's definitely going to become a reality. It's just a case of diving in and picking which one you want to choose. But yeah, there you can see some of the different breach teams you can choose from. So you've got things like the Dark Mariners, the Ancients of Atalan and everything. And even if you wanted to dive in and maybe just get some add-ons and buy maybe another team, it means that once you've played through that campaign, you and a friend could dive in and the other player doesn't necessarily have to play as the Invaders of the Void. They could just jump in as a different character and start playing you in normal games as well, which are really cool. So yes, lots of good stuff on this front. DeepWars is a game that has been around almost as long as Beasts of War and OnTableTop has been around. And they have been doing great stuff all the way through. So that's quite an old system, an old range, when you think about it. But if you want to dive in and maybe get a look at this as something a little bit different from, as say, the norm, then make sure to go and check out this Kickstarter and see what you think. Very cool.
They're a veteran of the industry.
They are definitely a veteran.
I love the STL packs, especially that one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Lots of fun creatures.
A lot of madness going on there.
Out the wazoo.
And if you're going to be playing something like DeepWars, where it is underwater, then really lean into the fact that it's underwater. Have the unusual denizens come up and attempt to bite your bum, because that's what we're all after in life.
Yeah.
Having to deal with
your local
creeping
pet
undead in
shop for
front
fish tank plants.
and raise from behind. I like the vampire coffins, high tech or regular.
One they sunk off the edge of a ship.
Yes.
And the other one's been there for millennia. Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway.
Space vampires, the worst kind of vampires.
Oh, not as bad as a star vampire. You can't see them until they've fed. Then it's just a floating blob of blood.
Sorry, Ben, just go watch Dracula 3000.
Oh, God. Is that a thing? Oh, no.
It is a thing.
I dread to think. So I'm not going to. I think we're going to call it there for another week. Don't forget, if you want a chance to win Blood Bowl, second season, come over to this video on tabletop.com and pop a comment below. You'll probably need to make an account if you don't have one already, because otherwise it will scream blue murder at you. Anyway, we'll be back next Friday for more of the same. But if that's too long, join us on Sunday morning instead, where we'll have a John who'll probably talk about tanks, because that's what he does. But we'll also be talking about your hobby as well. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.